Imagine this. A peaceful Sunday morning shattered by the roar of 353 enemy planes, torpedoes ripping through battleships, flames engulfing heroes in their sleep, and a nation blindsided by betrayal. But from the ashes of Pearl Harbor rose unbreakable American resolve, tales of raw courage like a cook-turned-gunner who defied the odds. This is the day of infamy that ignited a world war, and the shocking twist that led to ultimate victory. You won't look away until the final revelation. Welcome to Echoes of the Second War. While you are here, please hit the subscribe button and comment your view on the story and where you watching from. By late 1941, the world teetered on the brink of global catastrophe. Japan, driven by imperial ambitions and desperate for resources, had been waging a brutal war in China since 1937. The United States, opposing this aggression, imposed crippling economic sanctions, oil, steel, and scrap metal embargoes that threatened to grind Japan's war machine to a halt. Emperor Hirohito's government faced a stark choice: withdraw from China or seize what they needed by force. In Tokyo, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the brilliant architect of the plan, proposed a daring preemptive strike. A military disaster, he warned, but one that could neutralize the U.S. Pacific Fleet long enough for Japan to conquer Southeast Asia and the Dutch East Indies. The target, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, a vital American naval base housing battleships, carriers, and over 400 aircraft. The date, December 7, 1941, a Sunday when American forces would be at their most relaxed. Japanese diplomats in Washington feigned peace talks while the strike force, 6 aircraft carriers, 2 battleships, 3 cruisers, and 11 destroyers, steamed secretly across the Pacific. Under Vice Admiral Chuchi Nagumo's command, the Kido Butai striking force maintained radio silence, refueling at sea. Their pilots trained relentlessly for the Hawaiian operation, practicing shallow water torpedo runs to mimic Pearl Harbor's harbor. U.S. intelligence had broken Japan's diplomatic code, Purple, but not the naval JN-25 code fully. Warnings abounded. A bomb plot message from Tokyo to their Honolulu consul, heightened activity in the South Pacific, and even a Dutch warning of impending war. Yet hubris reigned in Washington and Hawaii. Admiral Husband Kimmel, Pacific Fleet commander, and General Walter Short dismissed sabotage as the main threat, leaving ships lined up like sitting ducks and aircraft bunched together on airfields. In Hawaii, life was deceptively normal. Sailors enjoyed liberty, families picnicked, and the fleet's motto, "Remember Pearl Harbor," was a future irony. Radar stations existed but were undermanned. One operator spotted incoming planes at 7:02 a.m. but was told it was likely B-17s from California. Tensions boiled over. Japan issued a 14-part ultimatum breaking relations, but the final delivery was delayed by embassy typing. The stage was set for infamy. As dawn broke over Oahu, 183 Japanese aircraft, Zeros, Vals, and Kates, thundered toward the island. Their pilots chanting Tora, 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 Tiger, 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 for success carried the weight of empire. This was no random strike, it was calculated audacity. The U.S. had been isolationist, but Japan's gamble would awaken a sleeping giant. Personal stories from the eve linger: a Japanese-American sailor torn between loyalties, or Kimmel's uneasy sleep. The trap was sprung and the world would never be the same. The Kido Butai's voyage was a masterpiece of secrecy. Departing Japan's Kuril Islands on November 26, 1941, the fleet sailed a northern route through stormy seas, avoiding commercial shipping lanes. Strict radio silence was enforced. Even Yamamoto sent messages via courier plane. Crews endured freezing gales, but morale soared with the promise of glory. Nagumo's carriers launched from 230 miles north of Oahu. The first wave, 49 high-level bombers, 40 torpedo bombers, 51 dive bombers, and 43 fighters. They flew low to evade detection, navigating by moonlight and radio beacons from Japanese subs off Hawaii. Back in Hawaii, complacency blinded commanders. No long-range reconnaissance flights scouted the north. Battleships were moored in Battleship Row without torpedo nets, deemed unnecessary in shallow water. Airfields like Wheeler and Hickam had planes parked wingtip to wingtip for anti-sabotage protection, ironically making them perfect targets. At 6:45 a.m., the USS Ward spotted and sank a Japanese midget submarine, yet the report climbed the chain slowly. At 7:02 a.m., Opana radar station detected the incoming armada, but Lieutenant Kermit Tyler assumed it was the expected B-17 Flying Fortresses. Japanese intelligence was razor-sharp. Spies like Takeo Yoshikawa mapped Pearl Harbor meticulously, reporting ship positions daily. The attack plan targeted carriers first, absent that day luckily for the U.S., then battleships and airfields to cripple response. As the first wave approached, pilots glimpsed the serene island, palm trees, blue waters, before unleashing hell. Tora? Tora, signaled complete surprise at 7:55 a.m. This stealth foreshadowed Pearl Harbor's shock. It exposed U.S. vulnerabilities, over-reliance on codes, poor inter-service coordination. Stories of the approach humanized the drama. A Japanese pilot's final letters home, or American sailors sleeping through warnings. The silence before the storm amplified the betrayal. At 7:55 a.m. December 7th, chaos erupted. Dive bombers screamed down on Ford Island, torpedoes skimmed the water toward Battleship Row. The USS Arizona exploded in a fireball after a bomb hit its magazine, killing 1,177 instantly. The Oklahoma capsized, trapping hundreds. Nevada tried to escape but was beached. Torpedo bombers struck with deadly precision. Shallow water modifications worked. In minutes, 8 battleships were hit or sinking. Airfields were strafed. 188 aircraft destroyed on the ground. Hangars blazed, runways cratered. The second wave at 8:54 a.m., 170 planes, finished the job. Anti-aircraft fire intensified, but damage was done. The Curtiss seaplane tender and other auxiliaries suffered. Total, 2,403 dead, 1,178 wounded, 21 ships damaged or sunk. Sailors fought back desperately. On the West Virginia, Ensign Joe Taussig Jr. manned a gun despite losing a leg. Dory Miller, a black mess attendant, dragged his captain to safety, then manned a machine gun, downing Japanese planes, earning the Navy Cross. Panic mixed with heroism. Men swam through burning oil, dodged shrapnel. The harbor became an inferno of exploding ammo, screaming wounded. Civilians on Oahu heard the roar, saw smoke plumes miles high. FDR, informed at breakfast, went pale. The attack lasted 110 minutes, but its impact was eternal. "This is no drill," blared loudspeakers. The destruction was surgical yet devastating. Japan's losses: 29 planes, 5 midget subs, 65 men. They achieved tactical surprise but strategic folly, missing carriers and repair facilities. Eyewitness accounts chill: a sailor on the Arizona's deck vanishing in the blast, a nurse at Tripler Hospital overwhelmed by casualties. This section captures the raw terror, where complacency met catastrophe head-on. Amid horror, heroes emerged. Dory Miller's story epitomizes courage. The cook who became a gunner, shooting down at least 2 planes. "It wasn't too hard," he later said modestly. On the Nevada, Captain Francis Scanlon ordered her underway, the only battleship to escape. Gunners like Seaman Robert Sedbury fired relentlessly. Ashore, civilians aided. Doctors at hospitals worked 72 hours straight. The all-black crew of the West Virginia saved their ship through damage control. Japanese midget sub-attacks added peril. One beached, its crew captured. Overhead, a few U.S. pilots fought back. Second Lieutenants George Welch and Kenneth Taylor took off from Hollywa Field, downing 7 planes despite being outnumbered. These acts defied the surprise. Miller's Medal of Honor recommendation, denied due to race, highlighted inequities, yet his bravery inspired. Post-attack, 15 Medals of Honor were awarded. The human element shines. A father and son on the Oklahoma, separated by capsizing. Families in Honolulu shelters. The attack unified a nation fractured by isolationism. By evening, Pearl Harbor smoldered. America reeled in shock. President Roosevelt's December 8 speech, a date which will live in infamy, united Congress. War was declared against Japan. Germany and Italy followed, globalizing the conflict. The attack galvanized the U.S. Recruiting surged, women entered factories, rationing began. Pearl's shipyard repaired most vessels quickly. Carriers, absent, became the new capital ships, enabling midway victory. Casualties scarred families. 1,177 Arizona dead remain entombed. Memorials like the USS Arizona Memorial, 1962, honor them. Controversies linger. Did Roosevelt know? No evidence. Japanese-American internment followed, a dark stain. In popular culture, films like Pearl Harbor, 2001, romanticize it. Documentaries reveal truths. Anniversaries draw survivors, now few. Pearl Harbor taught vigilance, the folly of underestimating enemies. It shifted the war's tide, leading to Allied victory. For YouTube it reminds, one day changed everything. Echoes endure, resilience in crisis. As FDR said, the American people will win through to absolute victory. If this tale of heroism and sacrifice from the front lines of World War II stirred your spirit, please like and subscribe to Echoes of the Second War. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that true strength isn't forged in steel alone, but in courage, resilience, and the unbreakable bonds of those who fought for freedom. Thank you for joining us, and may you always honor the extraordinary stories that shaped our world.